What are we looking at today, guys? Well, this is a fun one because there are 4 knives sitting in front of you, and they are 2 versions of the same type of knife. We have several knives types, several knife designs that have their names have entered the lexicon, but they are not properly represented by how they're executing today. And those primarily are Tontos and Kiradashis. So we're going to look at a true Tonto versus an Americanized Tonto, and a true Kiradashi versus what has been the stylized representation in the knife world lately. So let's turn this around and let's get to it. So guys, like I said in the intro, I have picked out 4 knives that represent a modernized version and a traditional version. So I picked Kiradashis and Tontos, well, mainly because that's what I had available here at the house. So we're going to talk about Tontos first and how we have definitely deviated from the original version, historical version of the Japanese Tonto. So let's get this other stuff out of the way and talk about these two. So like I said, guys, these are both versions of what is called a Tonto. Now, the Americanized Tonto is typically done like this, where you have a hollow grind and then a flat grind, and they marry together at a very, very distinct point. And it's used as a tactical knife because they do pierce well, because they have that piercing point, but they also slash well because they have this secondary point here that actually transits a bunch of force in and breaks the surface tension of whatever material, usually flesh. So those are really good. And the thing about the Americanized Tonto is they're usually very straight lines going both ways. Now, what definitely differs is a Japanese style Tonto was more of a dagger style piercing weapon. You can see almost no distal taper, and it has no blade ridge. So when I talk about a blade ridge, the flat spot here, the blade ridge on the, these were carried by noble women, and they were carried as a clutch dagger. This is the one my wife carried at our wedding. It's been in her family for a long time. And like I said, traditionally they were used as a piercing weapon. You could slash with them. And this one is obscenely sharp, 0 ground, complete, convex, you know what I'm talking about. But they have a terrifyingly acute point on them, and they come down, and they, like I said, they just come down to a distal taper. Very, very rigid, very, very stiff, very, very hard. As opposed to what you have here, which is just a knife that has 2 points. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily hate the Americanized Tonto. I just wish they had come up with a different name for it, because these are so drastically different in purpose. You don't do a lot of cutting with this. This is something that is basically just a piercing weapon, and it's very thin, very slender, very, very abrupt. And like I said, while it is insanely, insanely sharp at that very, very edge, it is not something that's meant for doing camp tasks, things like this. This absolutely was something that someone would carry as a last line of defense, a secondary defense weapon. I have got to redo the silk wrap or the silk cordage for this. But yeah, we're a very, very purpose-driven tool. These have entered the lexicon as Tontos, and they absolutely should not bear that name because they are so drastically different. We've called it the Americanized Tonto for a while, but I think I would have been happier if we'd had a different name for it. These are very good, and they are reminiscent of what you see stylized in like cartoons and magazines with like the ninja sword and the ninja Tontos and things like that. But it absolutely is not what you would see traditionally. So, like I said, these were something that was done and carried as a defensive or offensive weapon back. This was before firearms were a thing. So there you go. There's our first one. The Americanized Tonto and the traditional Tonto. So let's go ahead and move on to the Kiradashi. Here we go. Kiradashi. Now, this is a traditional Kiradashi. This was my father-in-law's. He used this as a carpenter. This was one that he said he got when he was an apprentice, and he kept it all those years. This is about, I think he said 50 or 60 years old. This is one of the ones that was one of his original tools that he carried in his toolbox. These were used as a woodworking tool. They're called marking knives. You can use them for whittling. They have a very, very distinct grind. You can see here where it's chisel ground. This is ridiculously sharp. And they were nice because you could lay this up against something. If you had something you wanted to mark, you could lay this up against the very edge of it and then draw a straight line with your tool. And you could cut that line in and it would be something that you could see and nice and clear. You didn't have to use a pencil, but you could also use this for trimming as almost like a chisel. Now, there are a lot of versions. I made this particular one for my daughter. This is a very poor attempt. I started making these to teach myself how to get consistent and even grinds. But this is a knife that is in that same line. So this one's more accurate. This is a lot more accurate than a lot of the other ones. So what you wind up with on a lot of the other ones is this style blade shape with this really, really abrupt angle on it. But then it's V ground and it's not done in a fashion that represents the Kiradashi. Truly, these are a very, very, very important tool in woodworking in Japan. This does a lot of different work. It's used for cutting bamboo, for bamboo arts and crafts. Like I said, you can use this almost like a chisel. You can lay this flat and clean things up. I've seen my father-in-law use these for incredible detail, cutting out square holes and things and cleaning up inside the little square holes for pegs and things like that on furniture. And a lot of times these were done in this fashion with the laminated steel on this. It's probably Hitachi blue or gold in there, and then a jacket steel on it. So it's one layer and then another layer, and you can see how fine that edge is, chisel ground, and then it's hollowed out on the inside to make it easier for you to clean up. A lot of the Americanized Tontos are not even close. Like I said, I tried to stay close on this because I wanted to have a Kiradashi that was truly a Kiradashi, but this is way thicker. The edge on it is, even though this is ridiculously sharp, it's nowhere even close to what you can get on a true Kiradashi. And this isn't as functional in the woodworking realm as this is. So we've definitely taken some of these knives and we've taken them from their historical context and turned them into something a lot more stylized. And I just wanted to show so that some people understood, so some people knew what these truly were. Though I think the one that departs the farthest is the Tonto. Now, there are a couple knives out there. I wanted to touch on this before we go. There are a couple knives out there that are more accurate to the whole Tonto thing. This is the WE 601. This is much closer to what you would see in a true Tonto, where you don't have a distal taper and it just comes down to that piercing point. But even this is pretty far off from what you would get in an actual Tonto, which I showed. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. So there you go, guys. I thought that would be fun to look at a few knives that we just kind of have drifted away from the actual historical versions of and have kind of bastardized. And I think it only makes sense for us to absolutely take a look at where they came from. Because if you forget where it came from, people are going to look at those pocket knives and think of them in the historical reference of a Kiradashi or a Tonto. So that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. I can't change that content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you hit the bell icon, make sure you turn notifications on your device, or you will not get notified of the stuff I do. Back to the likes. Likes are the best thing you can do for a channel. Liking a video tells YouTube that you see value in it, and it helps push it up the algorithm. A lot of views does help, but the fact is the best thing is a close to 1-to-1 view to like ratio, because that really tells YouTube that everyone that sees it enjoys it. Other ways you can do it, I do have ways you can support me financially. I have got a ton of affiliate links on Amazon. You don't have to purchase the things that are listed. If you just use one of those links as a portal into my affiliate store, it doesn't matter what you buy. From toenail clippers to toothpaste, it doesn't matter. So if you're going to do some shopping on Amazon, please just find one of my affiliates. Just click on one of my videos, click on an affiliate link, and use that as a portal into Amazon. I still get credit for it. I do have a coupon code and affiliate link for Coffee Brand Coffee that will save you 5% on your overall order on some of the best coffee around. That coupon code is CrazySharp over there on Coffee Brand Coffee, or you can just use my affiliate link. I do have a membership down below that is tier-based. Everyone has access to my Gilded server. Everyone can play around and goof around there. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into giveaways that I do on the Gilded server. Gilded server is just like Discord. And the premium tier guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series here on YouTube that is behind that paywall. And the final way is I do have a merchandise store over on Ember Shirt Co, where I've set up a coupon code that will save you 10% off on my merchandise and other creators' merchandise. And that coupon code is CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S. CrazySharp saves you 10% at checkout. Guys, that's it on this one. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Keep it clean in the comment section. It makes it easier for me to moderate the channel. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.